All right, everyone. It looks like for now we are safe with regards to our gas-powered vehicles, the ones that actually work reliably and don't explode when seawater hits them or stop working when it's cold. Yes, the gas vehicle ban, which was proposed by the Biden administration, has been soundly defeated. In a stunning rebuke, 35 Democrats decided to revolt against the bill. This is really, really great news. Gas-powered vehicles are a symbol of independence. Now, gas prices higher than they should be. Yeah. Are there problems with gas-powered vehicles? Absolutely. But they pale in comparison to the problems posed by electric vehicles. The whole goal was that by 2030 or thereabouts, effectively they would begin phasing out gas vehicles altogether. They wouldn't be allowed to be sold in certain states, as well as in the country at large. This is a big problem because most of the vehicles on the road, people not being able to actually purchase new vehicles, generally speaking, at the moment because of economic concerns, that would be a little bit of a problem, and they don't seem to have thought it through. Let's say that this ban went through. Let's say that it carried. Thankfully, it didn't. So you have a situation in which new gas-powered vehicles are no longer able to be sold. So it's going to be all Tesla Cybertrucks and stuff like that. Now the Cybertruck does look pretty sexy, I will admit, but I would prefer a gas-powered vehicle. That way, if the power goes out, I can still drive because I can always have some extra fuel on hand and a couple of jerry cans or something like that. Just sort of makes sense. What would happen to the market? All right, so no new gas-powered vehicles are being made. That means that the gas pumps start disappearing. How is a person who cannot afford a new EV supposed to actually go from one location to the other? Because they can no longer get fuel. It's no longer possible for them to do that. And so you would have 100 million people in the country fucking stranded. It makes absolutely no sense. They're trying to transfer trucks over to electric vehicle mode too. That's a terrible idea. Diesel is perfectly fine. I remember back in the old days, one of the green energy things was biodiesel. Well, why not just make that? Yeah, it costs 10 cents more per gallon or something like that. I'm sure that that cost would be much more readily absorbed than the electric vehicle shtick. This is one thing that I disagree with Elon Musk on. Musk has done a lot of good for the world. SpaceX, Starlink, etc. Boring company kind of falls through, but whatever. But one of the things that I disagree on is the necessity of creating a bunch of electric powered vehicles. The United States is not like certain parts of Europe that are fairly flat, they're fairly densely populated, and so forth. And we've seen the problems with the energy grid in Europe actually just the other day. Spain is still suffering a brownout mode at the moment because most of their energy is coming from wind and sun and things like that. And so without enormous amount of storage capacity, you can end up with rolling brownouts or even total blackouts like we had the other day, briefly at least. It affected Portugal, it affected France. Green energy is also, in part, a scam. I think we should ameliorate the grid by putting solar panels on people's roofs. That way it doesn't take up any additional land. Makes a little bit more sense to me than clearing out chunks of forest in order to put up windmills and shit like that. But it's supposed to be supplementary. It's supposed to supplement the grid, in effect. The problem with electric vehicles, ultimately, is that they are unreliable. Yes, if you have a hookup to a good power system and a charging station and stuff like that, electric vehicles do just fine. And very small subcompact electric vehicles for in-city traffic, they make sense. I mean, it's going to be cheaper. They've got this over in the Netherlands quite commonly. They have little vehicles. They look like a car, but they've actually got kind of a moped engine inside of them, and a lot of them are electric powered. But that's because you have a lot of charging stations. A lot of people are only traveling locally anyway, and so there's no problem. That's not the way the United States infrastructure operates. It's totally different from what you get in very densely packed portions of Western Europe. Over there, a lot of people just bicycle to work or something like that. They don't even need a car. And by the way, Eventually, if you switched over to that kind of culture, it would crush U.S. industry entirely because of the lack of demand for the supply that you have. It would be a really big economic problem. The gas vehicle ban being defeated is exceptionally good news for the United States. It's not that I have a problem with the concept of electric vehicles, but they should be understood as cheap, short-haul vehicles for within your city, within your metropolitan area that you're utilizing if you don't intend to travel large distances. For larger distances, you're always going to need gasoline. The world will remain powered mainly by fossil fuel for a very long time. And the grid powered mainly by nuclear energy, as we saw in Spain and so forth recently. When you switch away from that form of power, it can become a big problem because it's impossible to maintain the grid under deleterious conditions. But they don't seem to have learned their lesson. They're like, oh, we're saving the environment. You're not saving anything, actually. You're buying a bunch of lithium from China and a bunch of aluminum, by the way, as well, for the windmills, and calling it a day and acting like, in your nimbiest mind, you're acting like that's actually helping anyone. It's not helping anyone. If anything, you're probably creating more pollution than simply draining oil out of the ground and refining it. There's a reason why oil is the number one. It's due to convenience and due to its cheapness, generally speaking, and so forth. The United States has to supply liquefied natural gas to Europe on an enormous scale in order to ameliorate the damage that's been done to their grids through the malfeasance of their governments. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily a great scenario. And they're also using lignite coal actually now. Oh yeah, coal is way more just way better than oil. Coal is way better. No, it's not. You're buying cheap ass coal. You're not even buying anthracite coal or something like that. You're buying cheap ass coal and powering your cities with that. I mean, it makes the United States money, so thank you very much, but it's also creating a lot of CO2 emissions now, isn't it? Now, if you're really concerned about these things, it would make sense to go back to the old system that we were already using successfully for a very long time. That means nuclear power is the main for your grid, supplemented by solar and wind as necessary, and people using gas-powered cars. The idea of having everyone use an electric vehicle is never going to actually work. It's impossible to make this particular schema actually work at all. It's not even possible. So when they have their pipe dreams about an all-electric future, so that they can centralize power production, and with the flip of the switch, they can literally bring society to a standstill, which I believe is the actual final goal, I can say, je refuse. That's about all. Peace out.